I'm really gonna miss these guys. I really am. And that's crazy. It's crazy to think about how far this franchise has come, how much we've grown to love these characters. You remember when Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced back in 2012? And a lot of us were scratching our heads. Some of us haven't even heard about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Who? And then that first movie releases, and a group of misfits, outsiders coming together wasn't supposed to work, but the brilliance of James Gunn as a writer and a director, here we are in 2023 saying goodbye to this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. What a way to send off these characters. James Gunn knocked it out of the park in this one. By far the most emotional MCU movie that's not named Avengers Endgame, in my opinion. It's very much a story that is a farewell for these Guardians, but oddly enough, also an origin story. We get to see Rocket Raccoon from very early in his life through all the experiments that he went through, thanks to the High Evolutionary, who, by the way, is the most evil character, maybe in the entire comic book genre, putting all these animals through these experiments because he wants to perfect the very existence of creatures. Like whatever in his sick, twisted mind is the perfect creature, the perfect specimen. Out of all of his experiments, Rocket was his biggest success and his biggest failure. The story is very much, we follow the Guardians of the Galaxy, but the story then cuts to Rocket's origin, and it's really heartbreaking, very graphic, probably the most graphic MCU movie to date. Talk about animal cruelty in this one. It's some pretty disturbing stuff that will not sit well with audience members. There are times where I'm sitting in a theater and just wondering how how the hell did Kevin Feige approve this? This is not what we've come to expect from the MCU, but I commend them. I like it from a story standpoint because it's effective. It's it's making me sympathize with these characters and bringing me closer to them, if that makes sense. Where we find these guardians is very much a point where they're together but they're fractured, and they're fractured because Star Lord Peter Quill is very depressed. He misses his Gamora, and he's struggling coming to terms that the Gamora that was pulled from another universe back in Endgame, whether he wants to admit it or not, it's not his Gamora. And I just can you imagine how difficult that is, losing a loved one, and then like years later you see their doppelganger, and you're just trying so hard to convince yourself that it's not, but you can't help it because, we are emotional creatures, right? And so with Peter in this state, the glue that keeps them together, that is Peter, it's not there. It's like it's barely hanging on. I already talked about some of the new additions. The High Evolutionary, by far one of the most well-written evil scientists, in my opinion. Cosmo is fun. Okay, she has these telekinesis powers, and just wants to be a part of the team, and be a big help. Adam Warlock. I'm a big fan of Will Poulter. I am. I thought his performance in Detroit was by far one of the most disturbing and showed incredible range. Will Poulter dedicated himself to this role physically. Okay, the guy is jacked. The Adam Warlock that we meet in this movie, the way the character is written makes sense. It's very much a character in his infancy. They addressed how he was released from the cocoon too early. It didn't sit well with me just how immature he was and playful. I get that it's very young Adam Warlock, but still, it's just there were times where it was meant to be funny and it didn't hit with me in my opinion. But regardless, Adam Warlock looks awesome. The powers look cool. He's going to be a big part of the MCU. He may or may not be a big part of whatever future Guardians of the Galaxy team there is. So while his character portrayal, the way the character is written made sense and didn't work for me, I am looking forward to seeing more of him in the future. The way James Gunn sends off these characters, it's it's very beautiful, and there's a couple times where you realize, "Oh, you're about to cry. Don't hold it together. Come on. Come on, hold it together." And they all get their farewell send-offs. Overall, I enjoyed this movie very much. I saw it on the big IMAX screen, and the visuals were incredible. The song selections hit once again, and going forward, like I said, I can't wait to see what James Gunn does. I can't wait to see how the MCU goes forward without a Guardians of the Galaxy team. Eventually there will be another one, but this is it for James Gunn and his crew. So that's all I can say without spoiling. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really enjoyed this movie. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you thought. And that's going to do it. Thank you very much.